صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين. قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم: وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يعرفون نعمة الله ثم ينكرونها وأكثرهم الكافرون. Sweet your gathering with the remembrance of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. As a gift to the soul of Sayyidina wa Mawlana Rasulullah and his honorable and dignified and purified progeny, recite the second salawat. For Allah to shower onto this gathering with His infinite mercy and compassion, to hasten the reappearance of Sayyidina wa Mawlana Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, recite the third salawat with the loudest of your voices. The 16th chapter from the Holy Quran, Surat An-Nahl, the bee, was revealed in the holy city of Mecca, in a time where the early Muslim community of Mecca was looking at the wealthy and rich Arabs and asking themselves, how is it possible that we are the ones that believed in Rasulullah, we are the ones who are going through the hardship and difficulties, we're the ones that embrace the last messenger of God and we're sacrificing ourselves for Him and everything we have for Him, yet in return, we are the impoverished ones. We are the poor ones. We are the ones being subject to different forms of attacks, torture, excommunication, and some of them were even thrown out of the city of Mecca. And on the contrary, the Quraysh who are rich, they're spending their money against Rasulullah, against the Quran, against the religion of Islam, and yet they remain rich and they become richer. With that kind of spirit, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down one of the most inspirational chapters within the Holy Quran. Surat An-Nahl, the bee. Now why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entitle certain chapters after the greatest human beings that ever walked on the face of this earth? Such as Noah, Abraham, Mary, the Virgin Mary, Muhammad Christians, by the Jews, by the people of the book, the monotheistic faiths. Who wouldn't know Joseph? And who wouldn't know Abraham? And who wouldn't know Noah? And who wouldn't know Mary, the mother of Jesus? But yet, in other chapters, he uses the name of animals. I mean, you have Muhammad and Ibrahim and Noah and Maryam. Then you have al-Baqarah, the cow. Ankabut, the spider. Fil, the elephant. Al-Nahl, the ant. Al-Nahl, the bee. What's the relevance? How is it that some verses carry the greatest of names of individuals and some chapters carry the name of animals? There are three reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a title to a chapter within the Holy Quran. Number one, it is the summary of the entire chapter. In one word, Yusuf. Read the entire chapter. It is the story of the Prophet Yusuf. Al-Anbiya, the prophets, the messengers, the apostles. Read the entire chapter. It is the story of Al-Anbiya. Sometimes it is the highlight of a chapter. Meaning what? Meaning that within this chapter, through its title, you realize what's being highlighted within the chapter. Al-Ma'idah, the table. Through the title, you understand that if you were to read Surah Al-Ma'idah, you then would realize what to eat, what not to eat, what to drink, what not to drink, how to slaughter an animal, how to consume an animal, the laws and regulations in regards to the halal, the biha, are all mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah. So it's the highlight of a chapter. And at other times, it is indeed the greatest lesson within a chapter. For example, Al-Ankabut, the spider. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within two verses, several verses, within Surah Al-Ankabut, gives us the parable of the spider. Similarly, he uses the cow. It's not that there is something significant about the cow, but it is the biggest lesson within chapter 2 and the story of the Baqarah, the cow of Bani Israel, that connects to our lives until today. If you read the story of the Baqarah of Bani Israel and the story of the children of Israel and how they are ought to choose this cow and slaughter this cow, it is a lesson for all communities until today. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, looking at the circumstance of the Muslim community then, that we're wondering, how is it that those guys are more powerful spending their money against Islam and we are weak? We're a bunch of ex-slaves and workers and we're very outnumbered by them. How is it that we can empower ourselves as a community? And they all needed a sense of inspiration on a daily basis. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals unto them, unto Rasulullah, Surah An-Nahl, the bee. And look at how inspirational the title is, and how the title of this chapter can connect to our lives until today and inspire me and you, living in the year 2018, 14 centuries after the revelation of this verse, living in the western part of the world. I'll explain that to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look, compare yourself as a community of human beings to the community of the honeybee. Look at yourselves as human beings. Look at human beings around the world today. We are the most selfish individuals. We lead the most selfish lives. community members. The way we spend water and electricity is the most selfish way. We spend and waste water and electricity and the resources of this earth for fun and amusement, while other people do not have a drop of clean water. The way we spend on food and the way we waste food, knowing that there are people around the world who only smell the scent of food. They have no food to eat. Human beings are so selfish that they're willing to sell weapons to destroy one another, create weapons of mass destruction to kill innocent people, to invade land, to destroy families, to spread illnesses and disease and malnutrition. We are the ones that on a daily basis watch the news knowing that there are millions of people being displaced from their homes and their lands, and we don't care. We know that our authorities use our tax money to sell weapons that end up killing innocent people, but we don't care because we have personal reasons not to care. Because we're comfortable, there's a roof on top of our heads. Our kids go to school, we have a warm meal, we're driving comfortable cars, and that's all that matters. Human beings are so selfish that they're willing to sell drugs to other human beings, to watch them get destroyed, watch their families get destroyed for the sake of money. Human beings can be so selfish that they'll spread rumors and lies and accusations about one another for the sake of jealousy, for the sake of gaining power, for the sake of seeing other people suffer. Human beings rarely stop and ponder and think that, oh, let me share what I have with other human beings. Let me be selfless. Let me lead a selfless life. So Allah says, look, you, the community of human beings, observe the community of the honeybees. There's a lot for you to learn from this tiny animal. The community of honeybees has one queen, 100 administrator male bees, and 80,000 workers. They never cheat, they never lie, they never steal, they all go to work. They never do anything to disunite themselves, they never hurt each other, they never destroy each other. They're all working as a community for their prosperity, as a community, as a whole. The community of the bees sees its survival in the unity of every single bee, the 80,000 bees that surround each other, work with each other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings this most beautiful parable, most beautiful example for us within the Holy Quran, for the Muslims to be inspired in the early stages of the birth of Islam in the Arabian Peninsula, and for me and you until today, to be inspired by the title of Surah 16. Some people say, how can we relate the Quran in our lives today? I tell them, the Quran, the title of a chapter of the Quran, not the Quran itself, the title of a chapter can relate to your life until today. And can be the biggest lesson in your life until today. The problem isn't that the Quran is getting old. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And I said this to you a couple of days ago. He says the Quran is as new, as fresh, as exciting, as fruitful for the very last human being as it were for the very going to share it with you now. He says, مَا جَالَسَهُ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا وَقَامَ عَنْهُ بِنَقِيصَةٍ بِزِيَادَةٍ وَنُقْصَانٍ. He says, if a person spends time with the Quran, quality time with the Quran, he stands with an increase and a decrease. You depart from the Quran, from this time that you spend with this book, with an increase and a decrease. An increase in knowledge, an increase in wisdom, an increase in awareness, an increase in enlightenment, an increase in hikmah, and a decrease in what? In ignorance, in confusion, in uncertainty. You escape from darkness into light. Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijahum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. With this Quran, you escape from all darknesses with this Quran. ما جالسه أحد إلا وقام عنه بزيادة ونقصان. زيادة في نور ونقصان في عمى. This is the Quran. And that is why I emphasize the Quran must be the central theme of our minbars, of our discussions. We should not waste the time of people using fictitious stories and repetitive tales, or turn this minbar into a stand-up comedy, or a time for socializing and letting people enjoy a cultural activity. The minbar of Rasulullah is the purest pulpit, and it must remain pure. It must be the center of education and the center of knowledge. And ilm is the Holy Quran. And this is the month of the Quran. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. Today we're examining the 16th chapter. If those of the brothers and sisters want to grab a Quran, there is a table there with Qurans. You may use it. Today we're examining the 16th chapter, Surat An-Nahl. Like I said, its title is given to it so that it inspires the people in the time of its revelation to learn from the honeybees, the community of the honeybees, to be a united community, and it inspires us until today to form a community of unity, solidarity, to work for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a lot to be said here, but unfortunately time is limited. I have to move on. But let me say one word here. Are we happy and content with the situation of the Islamic institutions? At least in the United States today. Yes, we do have many things to be proud of. For example, I look at the Arba'een activity, the Arba'een March, and it almost resembles the honeybee community. That's millions of the followers of Ahl al-Bayt, the Shia, go to Karbala, they visit the shrine of Imam Hussein, selfless, they're willing to endure hardship, there are no fights, there is no mischief, and they return home. Just for the sake of spirituality. This is something we're all proud of. However, the Islamic institutions, especially in the West, will carry Islam to the next generation, will represent Islam to non-Muslims, will teach Islam to those who are ill-informed of Islam. Our Muslim communities here are the future and the hope of Islam in America. And I tell you, unfortunately, from the way I see things, many of them will be bankrupt 5-10 years from now. When this elderly community that is grabbing onto the power of wanting to lead those communities and never wanting anybody to come and take leadership positions, and the community is all 60, 70 plus senior citizens. And we say, no, because this belongs to Allah, this is never going to happen. What kind of nonsense is this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us how to run our affairs. Allah has put a way in front of us to be successful. Allah has given us a brain, an aql to use. We shouldn't say just because this place belongs to Allah that it's going to remain successful. If that's the case, why aren't our imam bargas and our centers full of people? Why is it that they suffer for $200-300 at the end of the month to pay their bills? At the end of the month, you should come underneath the mimbar and find, a couple of stacks of $100 bills, crispy new ones. Go pay your bills with them. If that's the case, Allah has put out a way for us. There are successful youth who are successful in their businesses. They're professionals. They're running multi-million-dollar industries and companies. Yet, when it comes to our local jama'ats and our communities, we're not willing to give them leadership positions. We don't believe in them. I want to be in leadership position for 50 years. Allah says, go read Suratun. Read this Quran. Don't just read the verses for amusement. Try to understand what you're reading from the Quran. Take lessons from this Quran. Let it be a mean to teach you how to build a community of believers. Let us come to the first verse that I'd like to shed some light on. يَعْرِفُونَ, verse number 83 of chapter 16. يَعْرِفُونَ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ. They know the blessing of Allah. They know the ni'mah of Allah onto them. يَعْرِفُونَ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ ثُمَّ يُنْكِرُونَ. But they reject this ni'mah. In a sense that they say this ni'mah is not from Allah. They're rejectful. ثُمَّ يُنْكِرُونَهَا وَأَكْثَرُهُمَ الْكَافِرُونَ. And the majority of people in regards to this issue are kafir, meaning what we spoke of, the definition of kufr yesterday. Rejectful. There's an offer to them, they have rejected this offer. So in regards to this offer, they are kafir. What do I mean? A lot of us today, brothers and sisters, we are successful at whatever we do. Either it's our family, we have a successful family, alhamdulillah. So you say, this is one of the greatest blessings that Allah has put for you, has given you, has bestowed onto you. Just say, what do you mean? I've worked so hard for this family. I work day and night. I spend so much time with my family. I've worked hard for this. You tell someone, brother, look at your successes. You're successful at what you do. You've worked yourself up the ladder of success in this company. He says, yes, alhamdulillah, I've worked very difficult. I've worked very hard, long hours. It pays off. Say, this is from Allah. I did it. What does Allah have to do with it? They say that a man, a alim, went to a city for a summer vacation. I've said this story a couple of times. I have to say it very quickly. So he got out of the hotel to go to the jewelry market to buy his wife some jewelry. So he came down and he had a man wax his shoes, clean his shoes, polish his shoes. So he started speaking to him and this man wouldn't respond. So this alim says to him, listen, if you don't want to do this, just let me do it. If you're so embarrassed, I just want to clean my shoes, so I can do it myself. You're not even looking at me, you're not speaking to me. He says, the man raised his head and he had tears in his eyes. He began to cry. So the alim looked at him and he said, wow, what are you doing, cleaning my shoes? What's your story? Apparently this guy was the biggest businessman and he owned the largest jewelry store in that particular city. They say his store had 7 doors. 7 doors, and there would be people flocking at his jewelry shop buying gold. Just making money. It was the day of Eid. He says, Sayyid, you see me doing this now? Let me tell you my story. It was the day of Eid. Poor people come into the jewelry shop, so we give them a little, coin, quarter, $1, whatever it may be, equivalent to their money. We give them some sadaqah on the day of Eid. He said, I gave until an old lady came. I put my hand in the little bucket. It was empty. So I said to her, look, go and come back. I don't have any change. So she looks at me. She says, really? You don't have any change? Why are you supposed to give me change? Give me something bigger than change. Give me $10, $20, $100. Look at you. Look at your business. He says, lady, go and come back. I'll give you some change later. So he says, she looked at me and she says, are you not afraid that Allah will switch spots between me and you? That one day you're going to be in my shoes and I'm going to be in yours? Are you not afraid of that? So he says, obviously money brings arrogance, of course. People that have money in their pockets, even when they come to a majlis, a gathering, automatically they expect people to give them respect, to honor them, to value them because of their money. And we've done this. There are people who make money off cheating other people. I don't want to talk about the forms of cheating, unfortunately. But you're all aware that some people make a living with cheating. Fraud. But yet, he's a millionaire. So when they come, they're supposed to be honored and valued. We value them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a hadith Qudsi that says if you value a crook, a thief, for his money, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not allow you to smell the scent of paradise. And the scent of paradise is smelled through a distance of 1,000 years. Why? Because we're the ones that make this corruption grow. By honoring them. By taking $10,000 of their donation and their name is all over our Islamic centers and Islamic institutions. I tell you, Islam says if you're a trash picker, go pick trash. Go be a janitor. Islam and Allah values you more because you're after a rizq that is halal. Because you're giving halal rizq to your children. You're not going after the haram to fill the stomachs of your children with. So this man, with his arrogance, the money he has, tells this woman, if Allah wants to do that, meaning switch my place with your place, it would take him 6 months to figure out how he's going to plan it. That's not possible. Look at the money. I have an empire. Even if I start losing in the thousands today, it would take years for me to become like you. I wouldn't be alive at that time. Lady looks at him and walks out. He says the moment the lady walks out, the officers of the king came into the bazaar. They said, shut down the entire bazaar. There is a fugitive here. And there is a verdict directly from the king. Whoever the fugitive, whoever has given amnesty to the fugitive, all his money is confiscated and he will be killed. He said, the soldiers came in my store. I said, how dare you? You know who I am? The queen was just here shopping for me. The king himself comes to my store personally. Get out of my store. Oh, they said, no. They searched the bazaar. They came to him. They said, we didn't find the fugitive. We know he's here, so we have to search your store now. He says, I kicked them out again. They searched the whole bazaar again. They came to me. They said, no other option. We're told that he's here. They searched the store. The fugitive happened to be his cousin. They stripped him away from all his wealth. They went to execute him in front of the king. The king said, spare him his life. He was a good friend of mine. So now I'm here cleaning shoes. Let us not be arrogant and say what we have today is our accomplishment, is what we have achieved. You tell people, share this bounties that you have. It's Allah's money in your hand. They say, it's my money. It's my land. It's my properties. You know what? Have you seen some people when they talk about their assets? Look at my cars. Look at my wealth. Look at my lands. Look at my homes. I tell them, none of it is yours. You just don't know. You're a fool. If they were yours, can you take them with you? Can you take one of the lands that you own with you? Can you even take the car keys of your beautiful car with you? They will lay us on the muqtasal. Take away the glasses and the watch and the Burberry suit, and you will be bare naked. They'll wash us, put us in a kafan that costs $7, and then 7 feet under. That's the reality and the fate and the future and the truth behind all of our lives. Nobody can change this reality. Nobody can delay this reality. They say a man says to his wife, when I die, I don't want to leave any of my inheritance for anyone else. I worked hard for this money. This money is mine. So bury the money with me. She says, yes, I'll bury it. You want the money with you? I'll give it to you. He says, I promise. She says, I promise. He dies. They're about to bury him. Before they pour the sand, he tosses a piece of paper in his grave. So the people ask her, what was this piece of paper? She says, I wrote him a check for the full amount of his assets. Maybe you can go and cash it. No bank will cash that check. You will be on your own with your deeds in that grave. You want to be rich in that grave? Make yourself rich today. In the month of Ramadan. You want to be rich on that day? Become a harmless human being. Do not go after exposing and destroying and hurting and harming other human beings. So Allah says, يَعْرِفُونَ نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ. They know the blessings of Allah onto them. They know this all comes to them from Allah. ثُمَّ يُنْكِرُونَهَا. But they are ungrateful, rejectful. They don't want to admit that this comes to them from Allah. وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ الْكَافِرُونَ. And when it comes to this notion, the majority of people are rejectful. Why? Because we desperately are in love with the dunya and money. Take a little kid today, 3 years old, doesn't understand anything. Wave $100 to him. It will run after it. Because we love money. We cannot depart from money. It's the most difficult thing for us. Allah says this money belongs to me. You cannot take this money with you. This money has been under your control to see and test you. How will you spend it? What will you do with it? At the end of the day, sooner or later, as soon as Israel comes to visit you, it does not belong to you. It transfers from you to your inheritors, and from your inheritors to other people. Therefore, one way for us to be thankful share them, not to be selfish. And this all falls under the title of the community of the honeybee. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse 68 and 69, and with this we will conclude, speaks of the notion of revelation, wahi. Take a look. وَأَوْحَى رَبُّكَ إِلَى النَّحْلِ أَنِ اتَّخِذِي مِنَ الْجِبَالِ بُيُوتًا. Allah reveals a revelation onto the bee. What is the revelation? It's an inspiration in order for the bee to execute its job and its task. So Allah says, this is your job. This is your task description. And the bee does it. Now the question here arises, isn't revelation just for prophets? How can Allah reveal to a bee? And the discussion surrounding wahi is one of the most prolonged, misunderstood discussions within the Holy Quran and amongst the scholars of tafsir. But it is a discussion that you, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, must be fully aware of. Because this question will come to you from people outside the madhab of Ahlul Bayt. What do I mean? First of all, wahi is in three forms. The first form is wahyul anbiya, the wahi through the angel Jibreel that goes to prophets. The Prophet Nuh, the Prophet Adam, the Prophet Ibrahim, the Prophet Rasulullah Muhammad. They all received revelation and wahi. Another form of wahi is an inspiration that can happen to anyone. Allah inspires you and you are almost certain that this is what you're supposed to do. You're looking for a home, Allah inspires you, buy this home. It's a wahi from Allah, a form of guidance. You want to marry someone, Allah tells you it's in your heart, don't do this. So you have a gut feeling. This gut feeling is the inspiration of God. Wahi. Do we have a reference to the Quran? Yes. وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّي Musa, the mother of Moses, she didn't see Jibreel. She didn't hear anything. In her heart, Allah inspired her. Put this baby in a basket and put him in the Nile. The purer this heart is, the purer the soul is, through our limbs, we gain purity. If the eyes are pure, the hands are pure, the heart is pure, the ears are pure, then the soul and the heart also are pure and the inspirations are received. Because Allah cannot send inspirations to an ill heart and an ill soul, an impure soul. So we cleanse our souls with wudu, we cleanse ourselves with ghusl, and this is a long discussion. And we cleanse ourselves with salah, and we cleanse ourselves with tawbah and istighfar. We cleanse ourselves with salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We cleanse ourselves with reciting the Quran. And more importantly, Allah says, خُذْ مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ, take their wealth, أَمْوَالِهِمْ صَدَقَةً تُزَكِّيهِمْ. Give charity, cleanse your soul. So there are forms of purifying the soul. Then the wahi is received. So this is the second. And third, it is part of the nature of this existence. So it's part of the nature of the ants, part of the nature of human beings, part of the nature of the Nahl to be inspired to do certain things. We are not taught to love our mothers, we're not taught to love our fathers, a mother is not taught to love her child. In fact, if a teacher comes to her or a doctor comes to her and says to her, you just delivered a baby, don't love this baby. She It's part of the wahi within her. It's part of what Allah has placed within her to love this child, to care for this child. Therefore, we have three forms of wahi. Now, how does this relate to us, the followers of Ahlul Bayt? We believe that after the demise of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, the wahi did not stop. Yes, the wahi of nubuwwah stopped. There was no prophets after Rasulullah. The messages of the religion of Islam were complete. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي. But did the wahi and the communication between angels and human beings stop? We believe not. How so? إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. It's a continuous, non-stop, every Laylat al-Qadr تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالْرُوحُ. The greatest angel, Jibreel, فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ سَلَامٌ هِيَ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. So who do they come with the wahi to? Who do they inspire? It is the Khalifa and the representative of Allah on this earth, your beloved Imam, the Imam who will soon look at your book of A'mal on Laylatul Qadr. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this most blessed moment of this most blessed day, of this most blessed month, to allow us to offer the best of the book of A'mal to our Imams. نسألك اللهم وندعوك ونقسم عليك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم. 10 times, brothers and sisters, desperately, let us beg unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the times of istijabat al-du'a. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya محمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين والتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. Oh Allah, forgive our sins. Shower onto us from your forgiveness. اللهم ادخل على أهل القبور السرور. اللهم شافي وعافي كل مريض. سد فقرنا بغناك. غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اقض عنا الدين وأجرنا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء وخدمة الحسين نهدي جميعا ثواب السورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. Brothers, inshallah, starting tomorrow, we will start at 7:30 sharp. So try to be here. It's just 40 minutes so that you can participate from the beginning. Also, when you come, if you do have a cell phone that has a Quran, I suggest you carry along with the explanation of the verses. And if you don't, there's a Quran there. You can utilize it so that we can together study the Quran. May Allah bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.